So this right here is a wheel spacer. If you guys don't know what the wheel spacers do, they essentially just stick out your wheels so you have a more flush look, like in the back right there. All right. Now, why do people use spacers? Well, it depends. Sometimes you want to use certain wheels, like these CPFs right here, that don't come in a certain size to accommodate your fenders, right? So because I want to use those wheels, I have to space them out so they're nice and flush, or else it'd be super sunk inside the fenders. All right. Obviously, I could go order custom wheels, but that's not the point here. I want to use those specific wheels because it's just nice and, it's a preference thing, right? But going back to the spacer here, are they dangerous, and can you use them for motorsports like racing, all right, or drifting? Well, in Japan, the guys that drift, they use a bunch of these spacers. Even the Toyo Kawabata drift car, the Supra, at one point, it had spacers like this thick. It was crazy and totally fine. I've never seen their wheels fly off. Now, the issue with using bolt-on wheel spacers like this one right here, because the spacer has its own studs built in, and then you take the holes and you bolt it to your existing hub. That way, it's basically, this is called an adapter, right? And it keeps the same PCD, the 4x114 on here. Sometimes you can use a converter, so maybe you're putting it on a 4x114 car like my car and you want to go 4x100. You can do that with these adapters too. But going back again, are they dangerous? And no, they are not. I've used spacers for a very long time, never had one fail, as long as you know how to install them correctly and you're using quality parts. Like the GK Tech stuff right here is very popular for Nissans. It just so happens that the same bolt pitch fits the AZ1. But what I do is I take this and then, I pop it on. I put thread lock on these guys right here on the main bolts, the original studs. I thread lock them. I usually use green because I'm probably not going to remove this for a long time. And then I torque them properly to spec. So for my car, it's 60 foot-pounds. For most cars that are bigger than a K car, it's 80 foot-pounds. And then I mark them so I can see if they spin backwards or not, or they come loose. And other than that, the only drawbacks to this would be you're adding a little bit more weight, rotational mass, right? And then you're also stressing the wheel bearings a little bit more because you're spacing out the wheels. So it puts a lot more pressure on the wheel bearings. Now, can you tell, will the wheel bearings fail within 20, 30, 40,000 miles? Probably not. Most likely it's going to fail later on its life. But, wheel bearings are super easy to replace. They won't fail as often as most people say. And when people have spacers like these that break, it's because they're using poor quality products, and also they're not installing them correctly. Again, in Japan, they freaking race with these spacers and they freaking drift with them, and that puts a lot more load than just putting around with your Stancy car. So yeah, long explanation, but I feel like not a lot of people put a lot of effort into explaining if these things are dangerous or if they're okay. And for, what we use them for daily, or, your show car, totally fine. And if you decide to track these things, no issues. Just make sure that you torque them properly, you check them, and then also, you use good quality products.